So imagine you are sitting in a darkened theater.
Okay.
The lights are down, the audience is, completely silent, and up on the stage, an actor is delivering this incredible monologue.
Right.
I mean, they are sobbing. Their voice is cracking at the exact right moment. Their body language is just perfectly conveying total devastation.
It's a great performance.
Right, and you're literally moved to tears.
Yeah.
But then the director yells cut, or
Yes.
the curtain drops, and that actor immediately just stands up, wipes their face, smiles, and is like, hey, what is for lunch?
Yeah, because it was entirely an illusion.
Exactly.
I mean, in that moment, in the dark, it felt completely undeniably real, right? But the emotion, flawless as it was entirely manufactured.
And that brings us to why you are here with us today. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. We're looking at a stack of notes today that argues that teenagers in, well, high-pressure schools are putting on those exact same award-winning performances every single day.
They really are.
The document you brought us is titled, What a DSL Can Learn From a Theater Director. And for those listening who might not be in the education field, we should probably clarify what a DSL actually is.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So it stands for Designated Safeguarding Lead.
Right.
And this isn't just, a friendly guidance counselor or a teacher you like. A DSL is the frontline defense. They are the specific person in a school who is legally and professionally responsible for identifying and protecting children from abuse, neglect, or, severe mental health crises.
Wow. Okay. So the stakes are incredibly high.
Which makes their ability to see through a performance a matter of literal life and death in some cases.
Yeah.
Because the challenge is that in high-performing environments, so things like elite international schools or highly competitive academies, students become absolute experts at performing well-being.
Right. They learn the script.
Exactly. They learn to hide their distress just to maintain the image that the adults and even their peers expect to see.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the core premise here is just fascinating. It's this idea that a convincing performance can feel completely authentic, and that observing this performance of well-being can actually help us identify vulnerable individuals.
People who might otherwise just slip right through the cracks?
Exactly, because theater directors know intimately that what appears genuine on the surface is, like, almost never natural. It's constructed.
And that construction is the critical bridge to safeguarding here. I mean, we have to move past the literal concept of acting in a school play, right? We need to examine the very real illusion of safety that young people project.
Wow.
Actors survive on stage by controlling their presentation. They manage the audience's perception, and their primary goal is just to stay believable.
Right.
Well, students in high-pressure environments, they do the exact same thing. But their motivation isn't a standing ovation. Their motivation is survival.
Wow. Makes me think of how people present themselves when they're trying to hide a struggle.
Yeah, how so?
Well, it's like looking at a beautifully staged house for sale,
Oh,
So you walk through and everything looks perfect on the tour. There's fresh flowers. It smells like cookies. But you don't see the frantic cleaning that happened an hour before.
Right.
Or worse, you don't see the crumbling foundation hidden behind that fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
You just see the illusion of perfect.
That is a perfect analogy. That is exactly the mechanism for what is happening psychologically.
Really?
Yeah, because in the theater, the audience only ever sees the stage. They see the visible presentation. What they do not see are the grueling rehearsals, the backstage panic, or just the sheer caloric effort it takes to hold that whole production together.
Right, the exhaustion of it all.
Exactly. And for teachers, parents, even peers, they are the audience. They see the students' behavior, the academic achievement, the highly curated social media image. They see the staged house.
They see the straight A's.
Yeah.
They see the captain of the debate team, the kid who always smiles in the hallway.
Yeah.
And society basically tells us that those visible markers mean the kid is doing great.
What's fascinating here is the strategic reframe that the text offers. It points out that high functioning does not always mean high well-being.
Oh, wow. Okay, say more about that.
Well, it is a professional truth in safeguarding that some of the students most in need of support are the very best at appearing unaffected.
Because they've rehearsed it.
Exactly. And we have to understand the why behind this. I mean, the adolescent brain is highly attuned to social survival. To a teenager, social nonconformity or showing weakness feels like a literal existential threat.
Like their life is in danger.
Yeah, their amygdala, the feel center of the brain. It equates standing out with being cast out of the tribe.
So the performance isn't like a malicious deception then.
Not at all.
It's an involuntary stress response. They are masking because their nervous system is actively telling them that showing vulnerability is dangerous.
Precisely. You will see high-achieving students deeply masking their distress because they believe their entire worth is tied to their academic output. Or you might see a student constantly joking, using humor to deflect from serious concerns at home.
The class clown.
Exactly. Or you might see incredibly calm, composed presentations that are actually hiding a massive emotional overload. We look at their social confidence and mistake it for happiness, missing that it might be a meticulously crafted shield.
Hiding just profound isolation.
Yes.
But if these students are masking so effectively and doing it because their brains are wired to protect them at all costs, how do we spot the cracks?
That is the big question.
Right, because we can't just interrogate every single student who smiles and gets good grades. But the text points out that we need to look at how they are delivering their lines.
Yes, this is where adopting the director's ear becomes absolutely vital.
Okay.
A director isn't just listening to the words right. They are listening to the cadence, the breathing, the micro-hesitations.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Your notes point out that a rehearsed line in the theater sounds a very specific way.
It does.
It sounds polished, it feels controlled,
Right.
and above all, it avoids unpredictability. The actor knows exactly what is coming next.
Right.
And in safeguarding, this translates to overly perfect explanations from
Right.
students.
Exactly.
Like imagine a straight-A student, maybe that debate captain we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
You ask them about their weekend because, say their parents are going through a brutal divorce. And they give you this flawlessly worded 3-sentence answer about studying and having a nice family dinner. No ums, no pauses, no breaking of eye contact.
And accompanied by complete emotional flatness.
Right.
That rigidity is the tell.
Wait, I have to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
If a student comes to my office and gives a perfectly calm, rational explanation for a problem they're having, my immediate instinct as an adult is going to be relief.
Sure, of course.
I'm going to think, oh, thank goodness they are handling this with maturity. I don't have a crisis on my hands today. You're telling me that very calmness, that total absence of emotion in a situation that should be messy is actually a giant red flag.
I am telling you exactly that.
Oh.
Yeah, you are feeling relief because your own nervous system is being successfully managed by a teenager.
Oh my God.
They have constructed that interaction specifically to soothe you, the adult, so you won't dig deeper.
That is incredible.
The text explicitly states that the absence of authentic emotion is itself crucial information. If a situation is inherently distressing, like a severe bullying incident or a major crisis at home, and a student is recounting it with the emotional tone of someone reading a grocery list.
You're likely hearing a rehearsed script.
Exactly.
That is wild to think about. The brain is literally severing the emotional experience from the verbal recounting just to survive the telling.
Yes, it's a form of dissociation or emotional blunting. They have practiced this explanation so that it is airtight.
Because if they show emotion,
The adult might worry. And if the adult worries, the adult might intervene.
and intervention means losing control.
Precisely. Intervention means losing control of the narrative, which, to a highly anxious student, feels like the ultimate danger.
Which brings us to this concept from the text of looking at the whole performance.
Right.
Because a good director doesn't just listen to the audio track. They are watching body language. They are paying attention to the energy shifts in the room. They are looking at what happens in the silences between the words.
Behavioral incongruence is the key term the text uses here. Does their body language match the words they are saying?
Like, are they saying, oh, everything is completely fine at home, while their hands are clenched so tight their knuckles are turning white?
Exactly. Or are they casually dismissing a major academic failure while their breathing suddenly becomes incredibly shallow?
Wow.
The professional truth in safeguarding is that what students do not say matters just as much as the words they produce.
So the application for anyone listening who works in a pastoral or leadership capacity is to look for that rigidity.
Yes.
Like, if a student uses the exact same phrasing every time you ask a question, you need to gently explore those inconsistencies.
But the text is very clear that we have to stay curious rather than confrontational.
Right. We aren't playing detective trying to catch them in a lie. We are trying to understand why they feel the need to stick to the script.
Because keeping up that level of perfect performance requires an almost unimaginable amount of cognitive and emotional energy.
I can't even imagine running a prefrontal cortex override all day suppressing every genuine emotion that burns people out.
It absolutely does. And unlike a controlled stage play, the real world inevitably throws unscripted obstacles at you, right? Life happens.
Oh, for sure.
Actors often struggle the most when something unexpected happens on stage. A prop breaks, a fellow actor drops a line, the lighting cue is missed.
The dreaded moment of improvisation.
Exactly. When the unexpected happens, the actor has to scramble to stay in character. The cognitive load just spikes.
Right.
Similarly, students who are under immense strain may suddenly lose emotional control and reveal their hidden distress when they hit a pressure point.
The text notes that stress exposes what routine conceals.
That's a great way to put it. When everything is normal, the daily routine holds the mask in place. It's predictable.
But add a stressor, and the mask slips because they just don't have the energy reserves to hold it up anymore.
And this requires a vital shift in how schools and organizations operate. We cannot just evaluate people when conditions are perfect.
We have to observe students across different contexts.
Exactly. And pay special attention to changes during high-stress periods. Think about exam seasons, periods of relationship difficulties with peers, or major transitions like moving to a new school.
Because that is when the energy required to maintain the perfect student performance completely runs out.
It does.
And when that energy runs out, we start to see the real danger of playing a part for too long. Your notes highlight that long-term performance blurs the lines of identity.
It really does. It destroys authenticity and emotional connection.
Right. Students can actually become trapped in the roles they are playing.
They get boxed into these archetypes by the adults and peers around them. The perfect student, the strong one, the funny one. Or even the negative archetypes like the problem student.
It's like Hollywood typecasting, but with teenagers.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's take the funny one. They play that role for so long, deflecting every uncomfortable moment with a joke, making everyone laugh whenever things get tense.
Right.
They get so much positive reinforcement for being the comic relief that they literally forget how to ask for help when they're the ones hurting.
Or the strong one, the kid everyone else dumps their trauma on.
Oh, yeah. They feel like if they show 1 ounce of weakness, their whole friend group will just collapse.
And because society rewards those roles, the students just double down on them.
But if a student is trapped in this role, and their brain believes breaking character is dangerous, how do we get them to stop? I mean, we can't just rip the mask off, right? That would be terrifying for them.
No, absolutely not. Stripping away someone's defense mechanism without their consent is actively harmful.
Right.
The text emphasizes that effective safeguarding means helping students feel safe enough to lower the mask themselves.
But how do you do that?
This requires actively creating psychologically safe environments. It means normalizing vulnerability.
But how do you actually do that in a hyper-competitive international school where every kid is gunning for an Ivy League admission?
Yeah.
The systemic pressure is astronomical.
It is, but you have to systematically reduce the pressure for perfection. If perfection is the only currency that buys adult approval in a school, the performance will never end.
Right.
You have to praise the process, praise the failure, praise the recovery. You have to show that a student's worth is not conditional on their output.
So what does this all mean for the professionals actually doing the work?
Well, that's where the text includes a very necessary caveat titled the honest bit.
Because while this theater director analogy is incredibly illuminating for noticing behavior, a school is not actually a theater.
No, it's not. And treating it like one can lead to disastrous outcomes. The intent behind a theater director and a designated safeguarding lead are fundamentally diametrically opposed.
Right. The notes are very clear on what pastoral staff must not take from this analogy. First, you cannot view masking as a malicious lie. Students are not being intentionally deceptive to trick adults.
Exactly.
Second, safeguarding is not a game of catching performances. You aren't a detective trying to bust a fraud.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the critical differences between the two professions.
Okay.
A theater director interprets a performance for the sake of artistic evaluation. They are working with structured, written scripts to create an aesthetic experience.
Right.
But a DSL, a pastoral care worker, they are supporting well-being, they are dealing with relational safeguarding and messy, unstructured human complexity. They are providing protection, not a review of the student's acting skills.
The masking is purely protective. They are trying to survive the environment that the adults have built for them.
Which brings us directly to the leadership layer of this document. This is where safeguarding goes from an individual, spotting the cracks in one student to an organizational culture.
Right. A strong safeguarding culture doesn't just rely on having one highly perceptive counselor in the building.
No. It demands that all staff are trained to look beyond the presentation.
It requires an understanding across the entire faculty that emotional masking is a reality. And the notes detail a really compelling application to what we call pastoral systems, the overarching framework of emotional and social support a school provides.
Yes. It has to start with the foundations of belonging and identity.
Right.
If a student is only ever praised when they get an A or when they score the winning goal, the system is actively teaching them that their intrinsic worth is zero.
They learn they are only valuable when they are performing.
To counter this, a school system needs developmental pathways that actively encourage authentic self-expression. It requires emotionally intelligent leadership.
The text asks a really piercing system-level question that just stops you in your tracks.
Oh, I know the one.
Yeah. It asks, which students in your setting are most rewarded for performing well? And how might that very reward system be hiding unmet safeguarding needs?
It's such a powerful question.
Are the students getting all the academic awards? The ones who never caused any trouble, actually the ones who are quietly falling apart behind the scenes?
It forces you to reevaluate every metric of success.
It really does.
The theater director understands that not every performance reflects reality. Some people stay in characters simply to survive. They perform incredible strength to avoid the terrifying prospect of exposure.
Right.
They hide deep, suffocating distress behind a beautifully polished, heavily rehearsed script.
And so, effective safeguarding demands the courage from adults to look deeper. Not with suspicion. Not by cynically assuming every kid who smiles is secretly miserable.
No, of course not.
But with enough psychological awareness to recognize when a student's flawless performance might just be a shield, protecting something deeply vulnerable underneath.
For you listening right now, the text leaves a specific question to carry forward into your own life and your own workplace. I want you to really think about this. Which students, or even which colleagues in your setting, seem the most fine? And have you mistaken their polished performance for genuine well-being?
It really does change how you look at the highly competent people around you. You start looking for the duck paddling underwater.
You do, and this raises an important question that builds on everything we've just discussed.
Well, what's that?
If we are asking students to drop their masks, to be vulnerable, and to step out of their perfectly rehearsed roles, we have to turn the spotlight around and look at the adults in the room.
Oh, wow. That is a challenging pivot.
Think about it. What if the leaders, the teachers, and the staff in these high-performing systems are so trapped in their own perfect professional performances that they are inadvertently signaling to the students that the mask must never, ever slip?
That is what.
If the adults are terrified to show vulnerability, if the teachers never admit they are struggling or that they made a mistake, how can we possibly expect the students to feel safe enough to do so?
Wow. If the director never admits they don't have all the answers, the actors are going to keep pretending they know exactly what they are doing.
Exactly. It's a systemic loop of masking.
Well, thank you for bringing us this incredibly profound stack of notes. It is a powerful reminder to look backstage in our own lives and in the environments we help create.
Thanks for having me.
Because the next time you see someone delivering a flawless, perfectly calm explanation under immense pressure, whether they're on a stage, in a classroom, or across a boardroom table, you might just find yourself wondering what script they are actually reading from and what it's costing them to read it. Thanks for listening, everyone. We will catch you on the next Deep Dive.